And welcome to the Comic Corner. My name is Damon. Yes, we do have a solo show this week. I'm flying by myself. That's fine. It is the holiday season. We will get through as nice, quickie, snippy, snappy as possible. The change of the change of the drop dates for comics this week threw us off for a loop. But it's fine. We're gonna get right back into it with the rundown. A brutal sacrifice for Absolute Wonder Woman #3. Fantastic issue. We will talk about that. Marvel cover bait. We see the new Sorcerer Supreme on the cover. Is she in the comic? No. And Merry Ghoulmas. I know a lot of us are celebrating this time of year with holiday cheer and cookies, but some of us may still be in a little bit of, let's say, a Nosferatu type of spirit. And Hello Darkness is here to still bring the creepness to all of us. But as I mentioned first, yes, we do have Absolute Wonder Woman #3, written by Kelly Thompson, art from Hayden Sherman, colorist Jordi Belair, and letter Becca Carey. This is picking up again, as comics do. Right from the end of the last issue, we have this giant behemoth of an absolute demon coming into Gateway City, and Wonder Woman is here to possibly save the day, but she's not named Wonder Woman just yet. Well, actually, yes, in this issue, she is. She gets her Wonder Woman name, which is very cool. But as I mentioned, yes, there is a sacrifice in this issue. And without getting into too many spoilers, we were all very excited when the design for this new Wonder Woman came out. You have the tattoos on her dominant arm, her right arm, and woo, the reveal of why is so cool. It is so well done. The art here from Hayden Sherman is second to none, top class. It suits this book perfectly because we do have a magic wielding Wonder Woman here, and she has a bit more of like that Greek vibe to her look. And golly, is it just drawn so well. I love the story that Kelly Thompson is telling so far. Again, we've interviewed her here right on this channel. You can go check out that interview all about Absolute Wonder Woman and the tattoos and the look of that arm. And she did really well, not spoiling any of it, because the reveal here is so cool. And again, it's very impressive with all these absolute books, especially in this new absolute universe and the Marvel Ultimate Universe as well. Whenever you have a brand new world and things are just clicking on all cylinders, it's very well done. Hats off to Kelly Thompson here. Hats off to Hayden Sherman. I'm just digging this. I'm really digging this. Wonder Woman, Diana, she feels exactly as she should in this universe. And I cannot get enough of it. I love this issue. I think this may actually be my favorite issue of the series, which is very impressive because I really enjoyed that first issue of this run. Can't wait for the next one. This may honestly be, so far, this may be my favorite Absolute book. Honestly, it may be. So we'll see how this keeps on going, but I am very fascinated with the magic, the Cersei stuff in here. It's just so well done. Hats off, kudos to this team. I've been digging it. I love to hear what you guys been thinking about this book as well. But moving on from this, has actually a little bit more moving on from DC to Marvel, but sticking within the ultimate, the absolute, the Elseworldist, the miniverse, whatever you want to call it, sticking with the new universe of everything. Man, Ultimate Black Panther, I feel like hasn't getting the love that it should. There's a lot of talk, obviously, about Ultimate Spider-Man, and yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man is dubbed my favorite comic of 2024. Rightfully so. It's fantastic. And the Ultimates as well. But Ultimate Black Panther, written by Brian Hill, this art here is from Carlos Nieto, colorist David Curiel, and letterer Corey Pettit. This Black Panther deals with way more of a mystic side to it, which makes sense because when you're dealing with like the gods of Bast in Wakanda, you may want to dig deeper into other gods like a Ra, a Khonshu, and that's what this whole run has been about. But as I mentioned earlier, yeah, there's a bit of a cover bait on here because I've been very excited over the last few issues of this brand new Sorceress Supreme, who appears to be a brand new character. We have no idea if she has any connection to Strange, any connection to Clea. She may just be completely on her own, and that's fine. We've seen several characters who are kind of their own thing, like Charlie, who is Hawkeye in the Ultimates. They are their own person, has nothing to do with Clint, nothing to do with Kate. They are their own human. But yeah, there is cover bait on here because the Sorcerer Supreme does not appear in this issue. However, this issue does do things with the plot going forward that I think this book has kind of desperately needed, at least from a T'Challa versus Khonshu slash Raw side. We've been building up to it. We've been building up to it. We've been expanding so much lore of what's been going on here in Africa that some people may feel like it's been a bit muddy. It's been a little all over the place. I think that's fine. I think these books do need that. And I think also that Ultimate Spider Man has benefited from that just sticking within New York. When you're sticking within one city, you're not dealing with so many things going on elsewhere. This has to deal with a whole continent, right? And that has its own challenges, but I think Brian Hill has done a very good job expanding some lore and going forward with the story he wants to tell. But also now we have to go back to T'Challa's side of things. We have to go back to the Black Panther side of things, and we're finally building up to a potential final showdown, the big showdown between Black Panther and Khonshu slash Ra, and that's what this whole issue sets up. And we see the decisions that T'Challa has to make, and even so, in the very first issue of this run, which kind of put me off a little bit, I ended up fully catching up on it now, as you can see. But at one point, when I was reading the first issue, I was like, man, this is very MCU. This feels very close to like how we see Wakanda in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it didn't feel like too much of a swing. But as you read the series, it's like, oh, yeah, no, this really has its own vibe going on. This issue brings back a lot of things that an MCU Black Panther fan maybe more familiar with the showdown to be the ruler of Wakanda, which sets up the Raw slash Khonshu showdown between them and Black Panther. I think that's going to be very, very, very interesting to see if they actually go. If Brian Hill tells a story where T'Challa loses or T'Challa wins, because we've already seen what T'Challa wants to do with the rest of Africa, or at least the neighboring territories around Wakanda, to expand. We all know that Wakanda is very isolated, and that's what has been allowed for Ra and Khonshu to take over the rest of the continent. And T'Challa realizes that's a problem. So now we're going forward with that. This issue I feel like is needed at least on that front. Again, yes, it is cover bait. There is no Sorcerer Supreme in this issue, which is frustrating, but I hope she makes an appearance next issue, possibly plays a big part in maybe how T'Challa wins or loses in that fight. We shall see. And as I mentioned earlier as well, yes, this is our third and final book of the week. Creepmas for all, Ghoulmas, whatever you want to call it. Some of us are still celebrating the vibes of Nosferatu if you enjoyed it. And Hello Darkness is here to bring on those creepy winter vibes for the holiday season. I've been really enjoying this anthology from Boom Studios. When you have an anthology, some stories hit better than others. Some of them connect with me more than it does my usual co host, and then vice versa. And I think that's a lot of the fun in it. You do have a very fun, creepy holiday story from Steve Orlando and Adam Gorham at the very start of this. And it always has been ending, for the most part, it's been ending every single issue with the war, which has gone on a lot longer than I expected it to. I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect this story to keep on going at this point. I thought once when essentially like quote unquote the bomb drop, that was kind of it. But they're kind of telling the after effects here. The Garth is really showing the aftermath of really the war that has begun. So that's been a surprise. I'm still interested to see how he's going to keep telling the story, because to me my interest kind of peaked when the bomb in that story dropped. The one thing in this that I have been loving almost consistent is Robert Hack's single page. Just like it's some dark humor involved, and he did put a good holiday spin on this. But I really want to shout out Sass Millage's creepy Irish folktale in this story. I thought the art in here was superb. Just sucked me right in. And it's not your traditional, like, American horror story. It just kind of have like a girl is something's wrong with her, and creepy, weird things end up happening throughout the story. I really enjoyed that one, specifically the art in there. I just drew me right in. every when you have an anthology, there are some stories in here, some little snippets that may connect with more, may not, but that's the fun of it. That's why I like anthologies because sometimes there's something in here like Sassa's story in here in particular that really just brought me in, and I really enjoyed that one in particular. All right, that's it for our comics for this week. But for next week, we'll be back with our usual crew. Those aren't the right books at all. That didn't update, but I do want to shout out. It's Jeff from Kelly Thompson and Guru Hero because I know a lot of people have really been enjoying Marvel Rivals. So go get Marvel Unlimited. Go pick up some comics at your local comic shop because Jeff comics from Kelly and Guru Hero are just an absolute delight. They're adorable. And also the big one for next week is the Ultimates. We will absolutely be talking about the Ultimates, the new Guardians of Galaxy making their way into the Ultimate Universe. This is the first big step into the cosmic side of this new Ultimate Universe, which is very fascinating. Very fascinating indeed. That'll do it for this issue of the Comic Corner. Make sure, as always, to like, subscribe, and check us out next week. Until next time, make sure you go support your local comic shops.